Welcome back, all our 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ here with Tim's Nation, and today we're going to talk about the Necron list that I've been working on, the next competitive list that I want to take on a GT. And those of you who have watched the last couple battle reports, I've been big on Ghost Arks and different stuff that we can do with them. So today we're going to start this. It's going to be probably a couple videos we'll do over the course of the next few months as things pop up. But the premise of these videos is something I want to try that I haven't seen done, and we'll see how this works out. May need some changes and alterations and stuff like that. But the cool thing with YouTube and stuff like that is that this is an outlet to be creative. And so what this is going to be, we're going to use content that we've created to create content from a creation. I know it's messing with words, playing around with it, but this is going to be talking about Necrons and the army that I'm building. And the reason to do this is because we have a comment section. And in that comment section, you guys can leave comments talking about different ideas and different concepts. So this goes kind of twofold. One, we're going to talk about this army. We're going to talk about the direction I'm taking it in and what my thoughts are in this current build that I'm working on. And then second, it gives the chance to respond. This is the place where I want all my cronies out there to give me some responses, give me some words, talk to me about what you guys think, and to try to curve this problem, curve the list, and then we'll see this thing go to a GT and see how it does, see how we can do it at GT level with it. Now, for those of you who are new to 40K or new to Necrons, a big thing that you can take away from this video, or even if you're a casual player and you just love Necrons, a big thing you can take away from this video is ways to use some of these units differently. Personally, myself, Lane as well, we like to try to go outside the realm of the meta. There is a lot of ways. When you go online, you can see different lists, different concepts, and there is some competitive options, strong competitive options out there. Wraiths are very good, very powerful. The Awakened Dynasty and Hypercrypt have done very, very well at competitive levels. But when you get to that realm, it puts a lot of miniatures on the shelf, a lot of very cool models on the shelf. And so my goal is to take some of those models that may have not seen as much game time, bring them to the table and try and see if we can't make them work and make them viable, make them seem like a legitimate choice. Oh, excuse me. The last list that I took with Necrons was the all-character build, and there was a bunch of theories behind it, and it did very well for me to take Best in Xenos. That's in the past. So now we're moving forward in these Necron Ghost Arks. So whether you are a veteran who has input, love to hear it, or if you're a newer player or a casual player who just wants to see some of these models that they have built and painted up come off the shelves and get on the table, I hope there is something you can take away. And today, as the title said, we're going to talk about the Ghost Arks and why I'm big on these guys. So the Ghost Ark, first of all, Ghost Ark, we got to talk about stat line to bring it to the table. Talking so much, getting those yawns. This bad boy comes in at 115 points. He is a toughness 9 with 14 wounds and a 4-up invulnerable save. He does have a 3-up save as well. But the 4-up invulnerable save is a big selling point for the durability of this model, where a lot of other models that have come up with invulns usually stop at 5s when they're vehicles and such. And the fact that it is 14 wounds. It's a weird, weird number. We see that with Knight Armigers now, but not a lot of other things. Rhinos, Razorbacks, other basic transports and stuff usually don't hit that 14 wound column. And while that may not seem like the biggest deal, it's like, okay, so why does a couple wounds matter? Things like Canoptic Spiders that can give you a 6-up feel no pain for your vehicles, as well as the fact of having reanimation protocols, can mean these things can go from a couple of wounds left to start to accelerate back out of their bracketed status and move across the field. In other things around it, they have a 10-inch move. Their weapons, they have 2 sets of gauze flare arrays. Each array is 5 shots with rapid fire at 24-inch range, strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage, which means that since they rapid fire, each array would get 10 shots at 12 inches. Since there's 2 arrays, you can get 20 shots at 12 inches. So that is, I mean, realistically, we're looking at like 10 Necron warriors with gauze flares. That's the equivalent, because those 10 at 12 inches would get 20 shots. 10 Necron warriors come in at 90 points. Okay, so we're spending 25 more points for 14 wounds, so we get 4 additional wounds, a toughness 9, a 4-up invuln. In order to do that with the Necron warriors, you're not even getting close to that points, because first thing, you're slapping Orokin in there for that 4-up invuln, and right there, you're already exceeding the cost of the Ghost Ark. So that right there means that it's not, you get that value out of this model. Now, with things like Bring It Down, I originally misread our new Bring It Down. If someone wants to take fixed against us, these 14 wounders are only worth 2 points apiece. It's not really a lot, really good in that Bring It Down column. So I like that happy little sweet spot. Now, the thing with Ghost Arks is they are dedicated transports, which means that you have to put a unit inside. And the Ghost Ark ability says that it can target a unit of Necron warriors once that warrior unit takes damage and a unit finishes resolving all its attacks. You can trigger reanimation for it. Warriors in base at base can re-roll the dice for the reanimation, but you're still getting a reanimation once on them. One Ghost Ark, once per turn. You can do it during your turn and your opponent's turn, but each Necron warrior unit can only get hit with this ability once per turn. So 3 Ghost Arks around 1 unit, doesn't really matter, but 3 Ghost Arks, 3 units, each one could hit those. All in all, when you start looking at trying to utilize the reanimation barge ability and everything else, the points get absurd. And those 10 Necron warriors that may come out of it as a transport capacity don't have a lot of value. They get scattered to the wind, that toughness 4 and 4-up save, they get smacked pretty easily. You can slap a character in there, but now you have made it that the unit being transport costs more than the transport and does not, in some ways, is not having as much staying power as the transport itself. More on that in a minute, because it is a dedicated transport, so you got to put a unit inside of it. Because when we talk about staying power, a big thing with the Ghost Ark that you can't not talk about is how big the model actually is. The footprint of a Ghost Ark is huge and covers a lot of the field and can really mess with your opponent. During the recent matchup with the Death Guard, even though Lane was able to still charge in and pick up Ghost Arks and hit them, I put him at center field and drew a line that he had to come in turn 2, because if he did not come in on turn 2, that whole field was going to be covered, and I was going to put his Death Shrouds back in his deployment zone. And they're not that quick. They move better now, but they're still not that quick. So there's that. Now let's get back over to that dedicated transport aspect, because we can't field these things unless we're putting something inside. So it means that even at 115 points, there's going to be a tax. So what is the tax going to be? Well, Ghost Ark's transport capacity is 10 Necron warriors and up to 1 Necron infantry character. That's the critical point, is the Necron infantry character. Whereas in my list that I'm currently running right now, I am taking 3 of the Skorpek Lords. Skorpek Lords are infantry, and they are characters. So while Skorpeks cannot go inside, and while a Skorpek Lord cannot join a squad of Necron warriors, a Skorpek Lord himself can go inside of a Ghost Ark, and technically could go inside of a Ghost Ark with a squad of Necron warriors. So what does this do? So now what have we done here? What have we made here? So we have a 115 point Ghost Ark. We have a 90 point Skorpek Lord inside of it. So now we're at 205 points for this unit. Okay. So 615 for the 3 Ghost Arks and the 3 Skorpek Lords. 615 points. What does this give us? Well, first of all, the Ghost Arks do a very good job of having their durability, their board coverage, as we covered, and their small arms fire to go into things like horde units, and they do have lethal, so just the volume of dice can do work. Now, I'm currently running this out of the Star Shatter, which means that I'm getting +1 to hit when shooting at units on object or attacking units on objective markers. So now we're getting 2s to hit, combined with the enhancement for reroll 1s. There's actually a lot more efficiency that we can get out of the Ghost Arks than it would seem. The Scorpack Lords themselves are actually freight trains, and I think are very, very underestimated in what they can do. A Scorpack Lord has, first of all, their impact charge damage. When they disembark, they would disembark 3 inches and then move 8. So that's 11 inches off the hull of the Ghost Ark. Then charge. When they complete their charge, you roll a dice. On a 2 through 5, you do D3 mortal wounds. And if you roll that big happy 6, you're looking at D3 plus 3 on those mortal wounds. So having that mortal wound output is nice. That's a good starting point. Then the Scorpack Lord himself has a sweep and a strike profile, with that strike profile coming in at strength 10, AP 3, and flat 3 damage. Scorpack Lords themselves are toughness 7 with 7 wounds and a 4-up invuln. This once again goes into our Necron thing of having 4-up invulns all over the place and making us very, very tough to hit and tough to hurt. So those Scorpack Lords give a different column and a different threat level. While one Scorpack Lord charging into most units might not do very much, as we noticed with the Death Shroud Terminators, 2 Scorpack Lords into the Death Shroud Terminators suddenly start actually doing work. And the single Scorpack Lord that I did have off to the side was able to eventually chew through a Land Raider, even though it wounds on 5s. Those hits at AP 3 and flat 3 damage start to really, really add up into those things. So the damage that comes off the Scorpacks is actually something to consider. And if you haven't run Scorpacks just by themselves, Scorpack Lords just by themselves, I recommend it. There is the catch. They are characters. So your opponent can take Assassinate and score points from destroying them if you have too many characters, which is one of the reasons I take this over into Star Shatter, where I don't need as many characters. Now, in the recent list, I had the Overlord with Translocation Shroud. Like I said during a lot of my videos, I think that he is not going to really do the trick. So I am going to go over to the Overlord that is on foot for the -1 damage, as well as the Tachyon Arrow to be able to throw an arrow at something for that extra damage output. And that's my first kind of segue into what do we need. So there are still 2 Ghost Arks that need transport capacity. Previously, I took 2 squads of warriors, 90 points. They're basically my action monkeys. They get out, go do some actions, go cover some areas. I gave them the Reapers, the Gauze Reapers, so I had that AP1 effect for their lethal, which is pretty nice and actually worked out well. And the one squad that I put into the middle did better than I thought. They went into a squad that was they were able to shoot at a unit on an objective, so they got +1 to hit, and having the reroll ones nearby, they were actually able to put an efficient amount of shots down that, had we not been shooting at a unit in cover, would have probably done a little better, but it was still a good amount of damage coming out. So I do like the warrior aspect of it, but I'm up for suggestions as far as other things. Now, going into the characters with the current list I was running, my bring it down was kind of in the realm of like 18 points. So giving my opponent the ability to have Assassinate and bring it down is something I really wouldn't want to do. So that's kind of where the warriors kind of fit into this, and I feel like are a good addition with these things. The Ghost Arks, since this is primarily about the Ghost Arks in all their aspects and all their ghostly glory, is with Star Shatter, being able to move these things through a wall means that we can hit from many different angles. You gain Assault out of Star Shatter, so now you can advance these vehicles and move them across the field. We were very, very close. The dice were not my friends, but we were very close at multiple scenarios during the previous game where Ghost Arks were going to be able to shoot over, take out the Tallyman, take his home field objective marker, because when you put a whole entire army on the field, your opponent starts to soften their backfield because they're like, okay, you can't deep strike, you can't up down, so we're going to play the game here. And with something like a Ghost Ark that has fly that goes, I'm just going to go over you and go into your top side of the table, now suddenly this is a problem. A big toughness 9, 14 wound, 4-up invuln problem that just advances in your backfield and is going to start messing with you. While other things like Scorpack Lords and that are going to engage you on the front side and hold you in place. So this army does have that capability of moving forward. But the damage output side of it was a little weak. Number 1, Doomsday Arks. Doomsday Arks hate me. That's what it comes down to. Every time I run these things, I have terrible luck. Terrible, 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 terrible luck. I don't know what to do. I don't know if there's some type of like, do I need to take my Doomsday Ark and go on a spa day? Do I need a couples retreat with this thing? Do I need to like go see a marriage counselor with my Doomsday Ark and say, listen, we're not connecting. We're not connecting on that level. And the Doomsday Ark just says no. And I even brought this thing back to life. This thing was a refurb. This thing was dead, destroyed, beaten apart. And I brought it back to life. I gave it a soul. And it just hates me. Every time I rolled a number of shots, 1. CP reroll, 1. Every time. It's like the Vindicare Assassin luck. Like, I have great luck with the Vindicare Assassin. I take a Vindicare Assassin in many lists, and man, I'm running around popping characters and getting kills and everything else, and I'm just like, why do people say Vindicare Assassin curse? Yes, I know that it's real. I know about re-rolling 1s to 1 and rolling 1s to hit with the Vindicare. Trust me, I've had my days. This edition, though, I have been pristine with the Vindicare Assassin. A Doomsday Ark, I can't buy a dice roll of 4 hits with that thing. Seriously, like Lane could give me and say, here, you can take 4 hits plus blast plus 1 plus all that stuff. You can just I'm going to give you a free 4 on your D6 roll for the dice. And then I'll roll the hit and I'll miss with everything and have like 2 hits and be like, nope, see, this is where we are. This is where we are. The Doomsday Ark hates me. But I still feel like that's the biggest, best choice. Because especially at a Star Shatter, once that thing gets going, it is kind of in that great cleanup position. It's fast because of the assault capabilities, does have heavy option, flat 4 damage, so and Centurions and 4 wound infantry he can just pick up, and its high strength means that it can smack big vehicles for a lot of damage. The Locust heavies were the biggest weakness. I could never quite get them going. And as the game progressed, I did feel this kind of being on a back foot, where every time one of Lane's smaller vehicles appeared, something that had 9 or 10 wounds with a toughness 9 or 10, I looked at them and I'm like, at best, I'm going to get one of these 2 through. And even if I took 3, I had 3 in a squad, I still feel it's going to be in that same column where it's like, I could get those 2 hits through and do 12 damage and blow 1 up. Okay. But I don't feel like I have enough faith behind it. Now, I love the spiders. The spiders did a lot of work. 1, they gave that feel no pain. That was great. 2, their volume of shots is tremendous that they bring on the field. And they punch really hard, especially when they're hitting things on an objective marker. So I do love the spiders. Would even consider going up to 6. For right now, we'll stick with 4. But here's where we kind of sit. So we have these Locust heavy destroyers at 110 points each, so 210 points there, that were not really I wasn't very happy with them. Now, granted, they hold the backfield, which is a good thing. That's something I need, but I wasn't very happy with them. Then you have the Doomsday Ark, which hates me. And lastly, we have the 2 squads of Necron warriors that are going inside of a Ghost Ark. Those are the things that are like, okay, where could we possibly tweak this? The only thing that I'm definitely keeping for one more go is I'm still going to go with the 6 Ghost Arks at this time. The Ghost Arks have a lot of play. They can push through, they can push right into armies, turn sideways, and be a completely big wall and blockade. Who needs terrain? I'm bringing my own. So what else can we do? Initially, when I was building this list and I put it together, I actually forgot. And I'm insulted that I felt bad that I did this. I forgot that how long I've been wanting to put spiders in a Star Shatter arsenal. And so I went back and revised the list to put them in there because I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm testing a list, why are these guys not in here? But now we're at the point of what is going to help get the big damage through. In a lot of ways, we don't have a lot of options that really bring big damage through. I have thought about the fact of Scorpex on foot, but I don't feel like they punch up enough to what we need. There is the idea of being able to kind of mess some points around and take the Ophidians and let the Ophidians hold the backfield to then be an up-down unit for later in the game to score those points. But it really just comes down to what is going to give me that extra damage that I need. In the future, I would consider dropping down to 5 Ghost Arks, but right now I want to keep the 6 for a little bit longer and see what we can do from there. So that's kind of the only thing I'm kind of locked into right now is the Scorpack Lords. They did their work. The Spiders, they did their job. But the things I'm not locked into is things like the Doomsday Ark, the Locust Heavy Destroyers, and the Necron Warriors. Even though we do need to have something in a Ghost Ark, I'm not locked in on them. Now, someone could make a compelling argument to push me early into going down to 5 Ghost Arks, because taking out a Ghost Ark and taking out a squad of warriors would mean I would have 205 points back, which theoretically could mean me sweeping a second Doomsday Ark into the equation, which I have a bit that I built up to just put on one of my Ghost Arks and say, look, it's a Doomsday. But I could shift that over and go with 2 Doomsday Arks. Having that love-hate relationship with Doomsday Arks doesn't really make me feel like I want to go that way. But someone can talk to me and maybe make me feel a little bit differently. Someone who's been running Star Shadow maybe since its inception. In something like that, then we can take out the Locust Heavies and go in a different route with this whole thing. So let me know what you think. I will post the list in the comments section of this video when I put this up here, so you guys can actually take a look at what I've done and what I've seen with that stuff. But I'm definitely very curious. So this is going to be the first video, and we'll move on to this in evolutions as people ask questions about this or curiosities about that. Is going to allow me to stem off and make more videos as you guys tell me what you're interested in hearing or interested in talking about. In the coming weeks, man, I'm going to be running some Grey Knights. We got new codex out here, and it's a both a thing. 1, I love playing my Grey Knights. I want to see them on the table. And 2, we're going to be seeing Grey Knights. We need to know what they can do. So it's going to be a spiral of all these things here soon. But first and foremost, community. This is me reaching out. This is me reaching out to talk and try to bring us together and start looking at these things. There are some newer gamers that would love to hear some more comments and stuff, especially just talking to the Ghost Arks and some other units and such in this nature, and why this list is built around these Ghost Arks so much. And some of the veterans, just like a new spin on things, especially if you're a Necrons player like me. You have a ton of models on your shelf. So, and some things you want to play that really just don't see the light of day right now. This is where I'm at. Now, granted, I didn't have 6 Ghost Arks on the shelf and I went and got these Ghost Arks, but it's because I've always wanted that. That's one thing I've always wanted, is to have a massive fleet of Ghost Arks, and just wish they did a better job with some of the transport rules. That's not what we got right now. So what do we have? What can we work with, and what can we see happen to make Ghost Arks do the work? All right, that's all I got for today. Please, I look forward to all the comments and seeing what we can work on from here. And as always, thanks for watching. I will talk to you again soon.